If you've ever watched a volleyball match, you know it's just this explosion of action, right? You've got spikes, digs, blocks, and it all happens in the blink of an eye. But what's actually going on inside all that controlled chaos? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and break down the anatomy of a single point to find out.
To really get it, we're going to focus on this one simple question. Because honestly, inside every single point, there's a whole story of teamwork, strategy, and just incredible athletic skill. By the end of this, I guarantee you'll see the game in a completely new way.
Okay, it all starts with this number, 6. On each side of that net, you have 6 players. That's 2 teams, and they're both working together with one pretty simple goal: make the ball hit the floor on the other team's side. Sounds easy, right? Well,
And this is their battlefield. These lines, they are not just for decoration. Nope, they dictate the entire flow of the game. You've got the end line, which is where all the action kicks off, the sidelines, which keep the ball in play, and that attack line? Yeah, you're going to want to pay close attention to that one. It becomes super important in just a minute. Every rally, every amazing play you've ever seen, it all begins with this one skill, the serve. It's how the ball is put into play. A player stands behind that end line we just saw, and they hit the ball over the net to get things started. And think about this, it's the only time in the entire game that a single player has absolute 100% control over the ball.
Now, here's something that completely transformed the game back in 1998. It's called rally scoring. Before this, you could only score a point when your team was the one serving. But with rally scoring, bam! A point is scored after every single rally. This was a game changer. It made the matches way more exciting and predictable for TV, and it cranked up the intensity, making every single play absolutely critical. So once that ball is served and it's in play, a really fundamental rule kicks in. And that rule revolves around another magic number, 3. Each team gets a maximum of 3 touches to get the ball back over the net. This 3-touch sequence, you could say, is the basic rhythm of the game.
So let's break down that rhythm. The first touch is the pass. This is all about control. You're trying to tame the serve or a hard-hit spike, which, by the way, is when we call it a dig. And your goal is to get the ball calmly and accurately to one specific player. That player then makes the second touch, the set. This is the delicate part. It's the art of placing the ball in the absolute perfect spot for that final aggressive hit.
and that brings us to the setter. And you know what? This analogy is perfect. Just like a quarterback in football, the setter is the one running the offense. They're reading the defense, they're calling the plays, and they're deciding which one of their hitters is going to get the ball. They are the strategic brains of the operation out there on the court.
Now, within that team of 6, players have these super specialized jobs. Let's look at 2 great examples. Have you ever noticed that one player wearing a different colored jersey? That's the libero. Think of them as a defensive master who just lives for passing and digging. Then, you contrast that with the outside hitter. They're often the team's main attacker, the go-to scorer, the one whose job it is to finish the point with pure power.
So, after the control from the pass and that strategic setup from the setter, we finally get to the third and final touch, the attack. This, right here, is the moment of truth. It's usually a powerful spike, and it's designed to do one thing: end the point with authority.
Hey, remember that attack line I mentioned earlier? Well, here's why it is so critical. The 3 players in the back row can't just run up to the net and smash the ball. No way. They have to jump from behind this 3-meter line. This rule is what creates all these cool, complex offensive strategies, and it makes sure all 6 players are involved in both the defense and the offense.
So, how does this all wrap up? Well, a point usually ends in one of 3 ways. Most often, it's decided by that awesome, successful attack. We call that a kill. But points can also be won with some amazing defense, like a huge block right at the net. Or, and this happens a lot, it ends simply because the other team made a mistake, which is called a fault. And oh man, there are a lot of ways to commit a fault. You can have simple mistakes like touching the net or stepping over the center line. You can have a team take too many hits, 4 instead of 3. Or you can have a positional fault, like that back row player we talked about attacking from in front of the line. Any of these mistakes, and boom, the rally stops immediately and the other team gets the point. And finally, after the point is decided, there's a whole other game within the game. It's called rotation. Here's how it works. If your team wins a point when the other team was serving, you win the serve back. And before you serve, your entire team rotates one position clockwise. This system makes sure that every single player has to play every position.
which means you have to be good at everything in this sport. So, a single point in volleyball, it's way more than just hitting a ball over a net, isn't it? It's a rapid-fire sequence of control, strategy, and power. You could even call it a story told in 3 touches. So, the next time you watch a match, look for that story. Look for the pass, then the set, and then the attack. I promise you'll have a brand new appreciation for this beautiful game.